Hey, welcome to another great episode of The Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Happy Thursday, December 4th. Christmas is coming. The holidays are just flying through here. We just had Thanksgiving, and now I hope everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving weekend and getting ready for the next one on Christmas Day. So, again, this is December 4th on Thursday, and I got a great guest. Looking forward to bringing her on in a few seconds. So, let's get it. Hit my music. Let's go. All right. Once again, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Glad to be back with a new episode here on Thursday morning. Doing a lot of podcasts in the morning now since I got some days off. So why not do some podcast episodes early in the morning? And again, you can follow the show on all the podcast platforms, whether it is Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube, BS3 Network YouTube channel. BS3 Network TV, BS3TVLive.com, iHeartRadio, and also on the BS3 Network Roku channel as well. So wherever you can download the podcast, you can get it on all those podcast platforms. You can follow me on all the social media platforms, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, and TikTok. So yes, I'm all the way there on all those platforms as well. So let me bring in my guest. We connected on LinkedIn, and I just wanted her to share her story. Looking forward to bringing her on. I have Maryssa Cladis on the show today, Senior Manager, Ticket Service and Retention of the Chicago White Sox. She's played basketball. She's done some coaching, refereeing. We're going to get into all of her career. So, Maryssa, welcome to the show. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for accepting the invite, and I really appreciate it. Like I said, we connected on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is a good platform to connect and network and things like that. And I saw your page on LinkedIn, just like I said, the algorithm of social media, and like what you're doing and where you are with your career. So I just wanted you to share your story. So again, I can't thank you enough. So thank you again once again for doing the show.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Like you mentioned, it was great to connect on LinkedIn, and that's one of the things that I always recommend to people, the best way to network. So very excited that you invited me on. So looking forward to sharing.
For sure. Thank you again, once again. And let's get started. My first time guest, I always ask the same question: who is Maryssa Cladis Rock, and how did you get into the sports industry and your love of sports?
Yeah, so it started out really young for me. I grew up in a sports household. So my dad, he early on in his career, he was a agent, as well as he coached, he refereed, he did a lot, but he also played baseball, he played basketball. So growing up, we were just constantly around sports, watched sports as a family. That's where I kind of started to grow my love of the game in general, but also basketball specifically. So we were always a travel sports family for sure, because I was in travel basketball. My brother was in travel baseball. We were constantly on the go, but I knew from an early age that that's something that I really loved. And I wanted to see how I could make my way and get involved in the sports industry through college as well as post-college. So that's really kind of how my love of that started. And I think at that point, I didn't really know like what that looked like, because the sports industry is so vast. So thankfully, I went to North Central College in Naperville, Illinois. I knew I wanted to play basketball, and that was one of the teams that recruited me. So they just so happened to have a really great sports management program as well. And that's really kind of how I started my journey. So I started volunteering for a lot of things, trying to figure out my niche in sports, but I knew my dream role was to definitely work for a professional sports team in some capacity. And growing up in the South Side, I grew up in Chicago Heights. That was something that I grew up a Sox fan. I grew up a Bulls fan. I was like, either of those two teams, if I can get it somehow, I am going to try my best to do that. So I just continued to network and work my way around. And thankfully, my journey led me to here.
Okay, I love it. Love that. I just love hearing the where the journey comes and where you started and where you are today. And I find that fascinating about you said how you got into it, and just said as a family, it was a sports family, and you guys just did a lot of traveling and just watching games and things like that. So that's very fascinating. So all right, so with the background, you said college basketball career at North Central College. Talk a little bit more about that, how that became, you playing basketball and your career just as a whole.
Yeah. So it started out, so I went to Marian Catholic High School. Historically, they've had a really strong women's basketball program in the state of Illinois. So it was a pretty competitive team itself. And I started out when my junior, senior year, I was like, okay, is this something that I want to definitely continue? And I knew that I wasn't ready to give up the game. So at that point, obviously, I was in travel basketball. I was getting recruited, which I was very blessed and lucky to be recruited by a few schools, obviously. But North Central really, it just had everything I wanted in terms of a good feel, great academics. It's a pretty heavy sports campus. About 50% of the students were athletes of some sort. So that was really interesting to me. But I started there in 2011, and it was actually interesting because I'm shorter, so point guard, shooting guard. I knew that I wasn't going to go D1 by any means, but yeah, so when I started there, I actually started out as a point guard. But then my sophomore year, we brought in an assistant coach who actually came from Olivet Nazarene University, which is located in Bourbonnais, Illinois, if you're familiar. But they did the Grinnell system. So fast pace, if anyone's not aware of that, it's essentially kind of like hockey. So you press nonstop, you rotate 5 in, 5 out every minute. Your goal is to shoot within the first 8 seconds of a shot clock, shoot threes, play defense. And we set the record multiple times for average points scored in a season, in a game, hit like 100 points at least 10 times.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a really fun system to play, especially for someone like me who just loves to play defense and just get after it. And it was really nice too, because as a shooter, you always want the green light, obviously, to be able to do whatever you want and not get yelled at if you miss a couple. But yeah, so we started that system my sophomore year, and by my senior year, we ended up that season 22-5. We made it to the NCAA tournament for the first time in like 30 years. We made it to our conference tournament. Unfortunately, lost in that game, but I mean, all in all, it was, I couldn't have picked a better place for my basketball career and to cap it off. And yeah, it was really exciting. And our team was like a family. So it was really cool.
And I think that's a very important, as you said, the team became like a family dynamic in a way, more, just getting along and just building that chemistry as well. That would have been a fun system to play with. You said you're pressing all game. For one, you got to have great cardio for one. Gotta, I'm sure you guys did a lot of running, and just to stay, within, you said, pressing and shooting threes, running gun style in a way too. That's kind of like the old, the Steve Nash Phoenix Suns system. You said 8 seconds and that 8 seconds and just keep in, you just go, play defense, shooting, running gun, try to create steals and turnovers, and you're out the other way. And I'm sure that frustrated a lot of teams that wasn't able to handle that press and wasn't able to handle that intensity and that defense. You said just to go at it, and you said as a shooter, that's you get the green light. That I'm sure that's a dream, just to be able to say, okay, just shooting threes and things like that. I'm sure that was like like you said, for someone like yourself, hey, I'm in a great system that benefits my game and benefits a lot of other people on the team. And I said, great, you got to have great cardio for that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, my knees are definitely suffering a little bit early on in my adult career because of that. But no, it was super fun. Obviously, the system's not for everyone, but everyone those few years they bought in fully, and that's when it's the most successful. So it was really fun.
Yeah, that for sure. And then I had read doing some research. You said you were the standout guard, and played 4 years. You were team captain as well. Ranking, you said talk about shooting. You ranked second in program history for career 3-point field goals. Is that still stands as that record?
I think I'm a little bit pushed down to 5 now.
Oh, okay.
But still, it was I was very honored to be able to be placed in the record books at North Central. So.
Absolutely. Congratulations on that. Any type of record, if second, fifth, 10th, I mean, you are, like you said, you were a shooter and you hold that record. Yes, as time goes on, the records always do that. It doesn't negate of what you've done and what you did. You held that record, you're still top 5. Yeah. So, and even when years go on, you go top 10, whatever. Yeah, records, more people come in, and the way the basketball has evolved now, the 3-point shot is a premium now. You have to be able to shoot threes in all aspects, for women and men basketball, whether it's high school level all the way to college and to pro. The 3-point shooting has become a major weapon in all of basketball. So you guys were kind of almost ahead of the curve. Like, hey, we were already shooting these threes and making it a premium of that was our game plan to outshoot the opponent.
Yeah, no, it was super cool. Like you mentioned, it's very interesting to see even now in the NBA how you don't have true centers anymore. You have tall people who just shoot threes all the time. Like that's a must for sure. So it's interesting to see how the game's evolved. But yeah, it was when my time of playing, I do really miss it, which obviously is why you see few of the other accolades that I tried to stick around the game as much as I could, even post-career. So
yes, let's talk about that post-career. You became a certified basketball official for Illinois high school. As you said you want to stay in that, the basketball and the game itself. You coach collegiate games, and it was, like I said, family tradition. So you stayed involved. So talk about that transition post-career, post-basketball, athlete playing basketball now and becoming that certified basketball official.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, my dad, he was a basketball official. He still is actually still going strong. He loves it. But that's so great. Was my uncle. So growing up, that was part of it too. Like me, my brother, and my mom, we would go and watch my uncle and my dad ref. So, it was it fell into the cards when I was 18. My dad was like, just go get your license. If you like it, great. If you don't, you don't. So I actually got certified when I was 18. Obviously didn't do as much. A lot of like freshman level, both boys and girls high school in the beginning because I was still playing. So I couldn't really dedicate the time to it. But when I graduated in 2015, that's when I actually became the grad assistant coach for the women's basketball team at North Central. So I stayed to get my master's degree in business. And while I was there, I was able to pick up a few more games reffing. And then once I finished my master's degree, that's when I just took like a full schedule. So I was doing pretty much all boys, IHSA boys and girls, sophomore level and varsity level. And I also started doing some college for women. So I started doing Division III as well as NAIA, which ultimately is where I kind of have finished the past 5-6 years or so. So that's been really cool. And I do get to officiate with both my dad and my uncle now. So that's actually really cool too. Last season, I'm retired from officiating basketball right now. But last season I was able to cap off my career as of now with refereeing the CCAC conference championship game. Okay. So that was really cool. And that was with my dad and my uncle. So
What a journey, as you said, and you got to do that with your dad and your uncle, family tradition, and as you said, you played collegiate ball, and also being able to transition into being a certified referee. That's tremendous. So, congrats on all that, the success you've had within your basketball career. And everything too. So, as you said, you officially retired from it. Will you miss it? As you said, basketball's in your blood, so it's
I
like
know.
it's family. It's like, but as you said, you wanted to move on. But do you miss that? And what do you feel like with the refereeing? As you said, you became a certified referee. Referees get a bad rap, and in some ways, you
Mhm.
said. And with the WNBA, there was some bad refereeing there and
Yeah.
things like that. But how do you see that? Because in like seeing a lot of sports, fans just they really rip into the refs and things like that. And I understand it to some point, but also they're doing it. It's a hard job to do.
Mhm.
One of my good friends, him and his dad and his cousin, they refed, and my wife always used to push me, you should have took the test, because I love basketball too.
Yeah.
Love it. And she always told me I should have took the test and maybe did it and everything too, but never did. But what do you feel about the referees as a whole from your vantage point of how much flack they do get?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I think it kind of goes back to what you mentioned with how the game has evolved and how media
Mm.
has really evolved around the game too,
Right.
especially with challenges now in college and NBA and WNBA. And you're really called out on a higher platform as an official than you have been
Yeah.
previously. So I think that really has made a difference. But I, it is a hard job, and a lot of it
Yeah.
is judgment based. Obviously, you can study as much as you can. We do a lot of written testing, video testing, watching back film as if we're playing like anyone else. And I think that's something that people don't realize is obviously we're not perfect. We're humans. We're going to
Yeah.
make errors. And a lot of the times, thankfully, most of the coaches are pretty respectful of that.
Hmm.
We have a good working relationship, especially when you're familiar with the conference and you're working in it for as long as I
Right.
was able to
Right.
work. So I think in that sense, you're always going to have the fan feedback regardless. And you definitely have to have a thick skin to tune out the noise, especially when most people don't know the rules of of basketball
Right.
and they're
Right.
like shouting at you, that's a 3 seconds, and they don't even know like when that starts.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I love college basketball still. I watch it and I'm yelling at the TV at referees too. So
Yeah.
I'm one, but it just happens. It's part of the game. So
Yep. That's a good point. Yes. I used to coach little league basketball when my nephews were playing. My niece and nephews were playing, and I coached for 5-6 years, and then they had some certified refs, and they had just refs that volunteered,
mm,
and I got as a coach, got because I'm always on the refs, and I still am, and I do feel bad. I do when especially when ones that were just volunteering and they come in and they're refereeing a bunch of games throughout the day or throughout the weekend, and the thing I used to always say, just for me when I coached, was, okay, I gotta be in their shoes too. I had to think of
mhm.
that. And again, my wife was always getting them. She's like, "You're always on the refs and things like that." I just always say, I got into my zone when I was coaching, and I forget. And it wasn't like I was purposely trying to just say I'm gonna get on them. It was like that's the way the games were called sometimes, and it
Yeah,
happens, as you said. It's just human. They're human, and you have to
right.
think that in a way too. And you said some people don't know the rules and things like that. I was just saying, just to make it fair across the board. Call 5 seconds here. You said 3 seconds in the key, but some people don't know that as well.
Yeah.
But it's a lot, I'm sure, to the game's fast paced and things are happening at a rapid pace. But again, it's all about just respecting the refs and vice versa, and respecting
Yeah,
the game too. So, as you said.
definitely. My favorite line from most coaches is the fouls are 5-1. You need to make it more fair. And I'm like, okay, I'm out here not cheating. I am following the rules of the game.
Yes,
so
yeah,
if it's more physical one side or the other, that's what's happening, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I think to your point, like I wish that more people did just appreciate the respect level. Because again, we're out here to do a job just like coaches are, players are, etc.
Yep.
You're going to get frustrated. You're going to get emotional. But one thing I always talked about with both my coaches as well as the captains when we met is if you have a question, ask me respectfully. I'd be happy to tell you the answer. I'd also be happy to tell you if I missed a call. It happens. So I think that's also developing the relationship, especially when you've been able to work in a conference for as long as I have. So
right, and they get to know you too. As you said, you work in a conference. The coaches, the players, they get to know your style, and you can always tell in any game, whether college, pro, where the tone's gonna be set. You know, the rest will set that tone. Like, okay, it's not gonna be a physical game today. We're not taking any, as you said, you might already know, like, and we're not gonna take any of that. We're gonna call it tight. And so then now the coaches and the players got to adapt to that too. And sometimes they don't adapt to that. And other times they do. It's like, okay, we're not gonna call it physical. Other times might let some things go, and unless it gets out of hand. I just think with this year, especially with the WNBA, as we were talking, there was some things, and I know players and coaches they actually have a officiating problem. They have to address that. Now it's going into that with the negotiations now, and but again, it's just, as he said, human, and there's got to be a respect factor on both sides. So I totally agree with you on that. So all right, let's get into now where you are today, senior manager of ticket services and retention for the Chicago White Sox. You talked about your love for the White Sox, the Bulls. Chicago as a sports town, as a big sports town state. Is Illinois is a state. Chicago itself, the city itself, one of the biggest markets there. Talk about how you transition from the certified basketball official to now where you are today, the day-to-day of being a senior manager of ticket services and retention for the White Sox.
Yeah, so I actually had a really cool journey here. A lot of the times with professional sports teams, your way to get their foot in the door is going to be through some type of internship. And majority of the time, the sales department has the largest amount of spots available.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I could tell you, I didn't step into this like, I would love to do ticket sales. But obviously I knew I wanted to, again, work for a professional team. So as I started, I was lucky enough to get hired on as a sales associate back in November of 2017. During my time there, it was a year-long internship, but 6 months into it is when I got promoted and moved over full-time into the client service team. But since then, I've kind of just evolved my way up the ladder. Back in 2022 is when I first got promoted to manager and started managing my team here. And then at the beginning of this year, I got promoted to senior manager. So it's been a fun journey. I couldn't have asked for a better journey, and the mentors I've had along the way have been phenomenal. My senior director now, he's amazing. He gives me so many opportunities to help me continue to grow as well as let my team grow, which I really appreciate. But it's definitely a lot of the things I've gone along the way, being an athlete and then roughing everything. You're learning a lot of different skill sets that I've been able to transition over into this specific role. So it's been cool.
That is, it's like you said, a great, especially throughout the pandemic too. So I'm sure it has evolved since then as well. What's your day-to-day like? I'm sure I ask this question all the time. I'm sure it's different each and every day. It's probably a question like, well, today could be different from yesterday. And DeMar, you said when we were talking before we started recording, you were talking about going into the office compared to working from home, things like that. But what's a normal, I should say, day to day for Maryssa when it comes to in ticket sales and services and being a senior manager?
Yeah. So I would say consistently, obviously the season is a different beast because we're constantly here after hours, odd hours, but even in the off season, this is our big planning time. So for my team specifically, our busiest time is going to be the off season, because that's when we start renewing for next season.
Right.
This is when we're reaching out to our season ticket holders to bring them back for the following year. So I manage a team of 5 representatives. I got very lucky because I really have a solid core under me. But I let them handle their book of business as it's their own, which I think really helps them build the relationships with their clients. But outside of managing them, my main focus is how can we improve benefits, communications, your overall experience as a season ticket holder. So I'm constantly right now looking into what events are we planning for next year? What gifts can we do for season ticket holders? What benefits do we have? How can we enhance them? Any ones that we can bring on that we've seen that other teams have found success with. So that's a lot of my day to day, is making sure everything's in order to go live to season ticket holders, be put in place, and also managing the team that handles the direct combat and communication with them.
Absolutely. It's almost, as you said, the off season is like the busiest, because you're working towards the next season and what's coming up, the upcoming season, though it's coming up. And he said people might think, okay, now the baseball season's over, you kind of can have a little bit of a break, but no, you're right. You're just for seeing tickets. I mean, it'll be here in February, March. It'll be here in no time. So you have to be prepared. You might get a little bit of a slight break, but he said you're looking forward towards to the next year, and he said working those relationships and talk about that growing relationships. How do you approach that with the current season or next season coming up? Ticket sale holders in the age of what it is, the digital interaction. How do you approach that? Keep continuing to grow a relationship with ticket holders.
Yeah, that's a great question. We rely heavily on all access to technology that we can. But with my team, obviously our main goal is always face-to-face contact, which in the season is certainly a lot easier than it is in the off season, as well as any phone calls direct over the phone. But we really have to rely heavily on email communications, text messages, just to get the word out. We want to stay relevant, especially in a time right now where it's football season, it's hockey season, it's basketball season. People aren't thinking about baseball, but spring training is 76 days away. So before we know it, it's going to be here. So we do rely heavily on email communication journeys, so that we can get a lot of our communications to the masses, especially because each one of my members has anywhere from, I would say, 350 to 400 season ticket holders that they're managing. So obviously they can call each one of them, but it's going to take them a lot longer to get through a phone call versus an email. So
yeah, and with the way digital and email has evolved, we talk about this evolving. There's so many different platforms now, and what do you like better? Do you like the face-to-face or on phone call or the email interaction? Is it more, would you rather have doing the phone calls or face-to-face more than just on email or sending a text or things like that?
Yeah, face-to-face is always number one.
Yeah,
I mean, seeing those people's faces, getting to meet them at the ballpark in person after you've had 5+ calls with them in the off season, and finally getting to have that conversation face-to-face, it's very rewarding. And I think there's a lot that my team has done to say, especially going in year-to-year renewals, where if they're not as happy, they can confidently say, the connection I have with you as my rep is one of the reasons why I'm coming back. And that's, I think, the goal that I want for my team. So
yeah, that's very important, as you said, that face-to-face interaction, but as you said, that connection, that you might even of like a personal connection. You call the season ticket holders, and you said if they say, okay, I kind of want to. I don't want to, buy any more tickets or anything like that, but I like that, the human interaction of the connection with you personally. I'm sure that's probably more rewarding than, sending that email, or anything like that. But if they're stepping away from their ticket, being a ticket holder, that service is very important.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rewarding. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right. How about for new sales or new ticket holders? How does that, versus managing the the ticket holders that are the veteran ticket holders, I should say, and new sales? How do you focus on that? The key differences of that, of how you sell the tickets to new customers.
yeah, I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, a renewal is still you're
Yeah.
reselling them. So that's nice, obviously, that we have a little bit more of a warm lead from someone who's already in, whereas versus a new prospect, you have to maybe sell a little bit extra than what you would, because really our goal is not to sell them. We're here to provide a resource. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to connect with you to see how I can be a resource for you with the White Sox. And I think that's really important, is figuring out and establishing like their needs, what they look for out of it, their preferences, so that I can confidently say, okay, this is how I think, this is what you should do, and this is how I think it would benefit you. But it is a great question, because one of my current projects right now is how can we further enhance our rookie onboarding program? A lot of the times when you're coming on as a new season ticket holder, we talk about all the benefits that we have, but going further into that, how do we use that? How do other people use that? What can you find success with to just enhance your experience, so that you don't just show up to the ballpark and leave and that's it. Obviously, that's the beauty of being a season ticket holder, is you get the additional benefits and experiences that you wouldn't normally as someone who's just coming out randomly for 1 to 2 games. So I think just relying on my team to obviously communicate better to how they could use that, and ensuring that they're in the right fit for exactly what they want and what they need out of this. So.
Absolutely, yeah. And as you said, a new season ticket holder, or it's someone that just comes to 1 or 2 games. You said you want them to have a great fan experience and maybe come and want to come back, or get them to also buy or to be a season ticket holder, or maybe, oh, you got other packages deals. I want to watch 20 games, or maybe a full half a season or a full season. I think that's actually interesting too, that they're able to have those options. But again, more benefit for the season ticket holder as well than someone that's just going for 1 or 2 games, but maybe might say, hey, I kind of want to be a season ticket holder. So there again, that connection and that service that you provide, I think is very important for fan engagement.
Yeah, and I think it's important too, like the people who are coming out to 1 or 2 games, we appreciate all of our fans, and we want to make sure that everyone's enjoying their time at the ballpark. So if you're going to continue to enjoy your time here and you're going to want to come back more, that's where we step in. Like, how can we be of assistance to you to continue to expand on that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I mean, you have a fascinating job. I definitely because when I first moved to Philadelphia, and we were going to see, me and my wife were going to 6 games, and tickets were very cheap because they were bad. So it also depends on how the season turns out for the team too, as well. But at the first, and that this was 10 years ago, 11 years ago, tickets were really bad. They were trying to the whole process and all that. Mm-hmm. So we were getting tickets for very cheap, very cheap, just to go. We were just going just to have fun. We love basketball, so we just have fun. $6-7 just to, and we had someone call. We weren't even seeing ticket. We just had someone call, and they, it's like, hey, do you want to be a season ticket holder? And they were, giving us the benefits and things like that. We weren't season ticket holder, but we ended up getting like we got to sit on the floor. We got floor seats for very cheap as well, because we were going. But again, it goes to show of how much of that, the background of, you guys are giving us all these benefits and options. I think that was great to have those options to be like, and say, hey, we can really lower your pricing down for this, and you can get floor seats for this cheap for a game or 2. But I know that was the main thing, was trying to become a season ticket holder as well.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. You said you just love basketball, so that's why you were going to games. I think a lot of people, like, do you remember the game you went to 2 years ago, what the score of that game was? Probably not.
Not,
Like
no.
if it's something that happened that was obviously a wow moment, I think you're going to remember that. But I think that's really what we try and hit on is
Yeah.
obviously you love the game of basketball. So as a basketball fan, you want to create memories with your wife and coming out to these sporting events because
Yeah.
that's part of your journey. So I think that's really what we try and show you is like, how can the White Sox be of a benefit to you in that sense, where it might not be you're coming out because you are a fan of the White Sox, but maybe you want to entertain your clients. Maybe you want to have a face-to-face conversation with your employees and reward them with that. Maybe you just want to create memories with your kids and have something that you can say when they're older that this is what you guys used to do. So
Yeah.
there's a
Yep.
lot of different paths and reasons why people come to any type of entertainment, whether it's sports, theater, etc. But that's really what you're going to remember are the memories that you made while you were there versus the wins or losses. So
Yep. That's yes, hit it right on the head. Yep, that's very important on that. All right, I just got two more. If I let you go, I'm really enjoying this. Getting you sharing your story and your journey. If you could pick one or two favorite memories that you've had working with the White Sox.
Yeah. So it kind of combines into one. So in 2020, obviously, was COVID season. So we didn't have any fans at the ballpark for that year, but the White Sox did make it to postseason that year. And we've continued that journey into 2021. So at this point, we're working remote, but then coming back into the office in the 2021 season and finally getting back to the atmosphere with fans in the ballpark. It's really exciting. And we ultimately make it to postseason 2021. We host that first series. That was cool because obviously getting to experience that atmosphere in the ballpark of like what this feels like. So that was really cool. But also that game, I met my now husband in the concession stand line. So I feel like that has to take the cake for my best memory since working here. So
Well, yes, that's a great memory. Probably the greatest memory that you would, one of the greatest memories you would probably that you would have, as he said, meeting your now husband. That's congratulations first.
thank you.
Yes, and he said working, and again, when the team you work for or you root for, you said you rooted for them for your lifetime, it's and to get to work with them and continue to create memories on that. But for them, when the team is good, I think with anything, when you live in a city, when the teams are rolling, they're good. You don't have to win the World Series, and that's always the goal, or championship, or anything like that. But when the team is doing well, the city is always booming. It's always, and I'm sure for in the industry you work and that you work in, you're always hoping, wow, fan engagement is on a all-time high because the team is doing very well, and everything too, because it just and makes people happy.
Yeah.
And then when the team's slumping and then you're just going through the motions, and as a fan for sure, but you work in the industry, it's even more. It's like, but you still love to do what you do because you still want fans to really enjoy and coming to the ballpark and meeting people and things like that. So I know that's very rewarding too.
Yeah, and we're living it with the fans, whether we're a fan or not a fan. Like we're on the journey too. So I think that's important, is we're experiencing the emotions of it too.
Yes, absolutely. And again, like you said, when teams are whatever the sport is, the city is always, when it's popping like that, it's really rewarding for sure. All right, last one. The awards that you have been a recipient of or anything like that, you've got quite a few. So you're a recipient of the Katie Feeney Leadership Award and also 2025 Women to Watch nominee by WISE for advancing women's sports. Talk about those rewards, being a part of that, and again and continuing to advance women's sports.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up because these are two of probably the highlights of my professional and personal career thus far. So in 2024, I was awarded the Katie Feeney Leadership Award through MLB. So this is an award that they actually select one woman each year from each MLB team, as well as MLB, the network, and the overall league offices. But it essentially is in honor of a woman named Katie Feeney, who she had an extraordinary career in Major League Baseball. She kind of broke the glass ceiling in the terms of what she can do and what her role was with the league itself. But that was a true honor to me, because my goal is always to help anyone as much as I can, but I just really want to set other people up to be successful. I want to help you grow. I want to help you grow your skill set. And that kind of led into my nominee with Women Watch too, which I was really appreciative of that. One of the team members of mine nominated me for that. And it's just really, it's really rewarding to see that I can be of any type of service, contact, anything I can to those around me. And that's just been a great achievement of mine. So I'm really, really proud of that.
Yeah, and again, another congratulations for being rewarded, and as you said, the hard work you've put in, and the more you evolve and things like that, people are watching, people are seeing what you're doing, and it could just be behind the scenes, but someone always, as you said, you're out there to help and to provide services, and people are watching. People are always watching, and you're able to be nominated by your peers, and that's I'm sure, an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it's I can't even I can't even put it in words sometimes.
Yeah.
And again, obviously, I'm not in the business to look for this. It's not like what I'm striving for.
Yeah.
It's just part of who I want. Like, that's how I grew up. That's how I was taught. My parents always instilled in me to be a leader, to be there, be a resource, be a listening ear, be a helping hand. So it's just really, it's really cool that I've gotten here. So thank you for that.
Yeah. So, again, congratulations, many blessings, many more blessings for you, moving forward in your career, your professional and personal career, personal life as well. Maryssa, it's been a pleasure, getting to know you, and I'm glad we, like I said, connected and networked on LinkedIn. Again, the power of social media. It definitely is, who knew if we would ever cross paths or anything like that. I said it's one of those things where it came on my timeline, and somehow, and I just enjoy. It might have been the wise, where I saw that and it just popped in, and I just reached out to you, and I'm glad that we got a chance to do this. So I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your time. Thank you again. And but before I let you go, let everyone know where they can actually follow you, want to reach out to you, ask for advice, how to get into this industry. As we know, the sports industry always evolves, always changing, ever changing, media or anything like that. But yeah, let everyone know where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, definitely. So LinkedIn, as we started out this conversation,
Yes.
That's the best way to network. So you can find me, Maryssa Cladis Rock, obviously, but also connect with me. You can email me, mrock@WHITESOX.com. I'd be happy to make any type of connection that I can. I'm always willing to speak to anyone I can, give advice, and also learn. I just am a creature of wanting to learn anything and everything I can. I want to be a sponge to absorb anything in the industry. So that's where you can find me. But Courtney, to you, thank you. It's been great connecting with you, and I look forward to continuing to learn more about each other in the future and stay connected. So,
oh yes, we definitely will stay connected. I always say I always say for my guests, if you do the show one time and we do it again, your podcast family now. So the red carpet is always open. The door's always open. If you need anything, or we'll connect again. We will definitely stay connected, and we'll do. I look forward to hopefully doing this again. Maybe during the season. We'll before the season starts, we'll do a little recap and see what goes on and behind the scenes when the season really starts. You said 76 days, you said, with spring training, something like that. Wow, I can't believe it, because like you said, football's here, Super Bowl, and then there's baseball. Here we go. It's starting, so for sure. But I look forward to connecting with you. So, but happy holidays to you and your family, and looking forward to the new year as well. So thank you again.
Yeah, thanks. Same to you too. And if you do want to try and put on the stripes at some point and you need any advice on referee officiating tips, let me know.
I will, for sure. I definitely will. I appreciate that. Again, thank you. Thank you again, Maryssa. And I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.